Thank you all for joining today's webinar. I have with me Lavanya Sallagundla, who is Head of Testing for CloudTestr. She will be discussing more about the ERP test automation platform that we have here. Lavanya, all yours.
Thank you, Sagar. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Lavanya Sallagundla. As Sagar has pointed out, I head our test engineering practice, and I'm based out of Chicago. Today, we wanted to discuss specifically for Oracle Cloud applications, how do you leverage automated testing, both during implementation and post-implementation, where you start taking quarterly patches for your applications. And the way we would cover this today is we'll talk a little bit about what's happening in the industry in terms of the cloud adoption and how the testing has been a challenge, and what are the different options customers have to deal with the continuous delivery that is being provided by the cloud providers. We'll do a quick customer case study, and then we'll talk about the platform that you could leverage. We'll do a quick demo of that, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So in terms of hope everybody is able to hear me.
He's saying you need to plug in the additional plugins. Oh, sorry, yeah, no. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. So in terms of Oracle Cloud adoption, there are a few things that customers have been dealing with, though it has been a great journey in terms of moving to cloud. A few things to consider while undertaking this journey, or if you're already on, to look at is, one is from a change management standpoint. It has been a huge paradigm shift for a lot of customers moving from on-prem systems to the cloud applications, whether it comes to adopting the new changes that are coming in at a more frequent pace, and not having the control in terms of the infrastructure or in terms of the release cycles, and in terms of options of any rollback options, because it's all being controlled by somebody else. It's not your own infrastructure or your own release cycles, or what goes into the release is all determined by somebody else. So that has been one of the main challenges that customers have had to adopt to when they started migrating to cloud. The second one is in terms of the business users and business analysts. For them, understanding every time there is a change, what needs to be tested. Should we test the whole regression suite, or just test the impacted test cases? What are the configurable components? What are the non-configurable components? Getting that understanding, it takes a little bit of time, and making those decisions, deciding how much risk to take every time there is a release that is getting pushed, which is happening much faster now with the cloud applications, right? So that's one of the other areas that customers are dealing with. And the other one is new features, applicability, and adoption. With cloud, one of the good things is that you're getting these changes and new features much faster than you used to when you're on-prem. But the flip side to that is, since you are also getting a lot of other changes in terms of fixes and enhancements quarterly, most of the time customers are overlooking the new features that are not mandatory and opting out by default, and losing out on the whole benefit of moving to cloud. So in a sense, the whole reason of going on to the cloud to get that agility and continuous innovation is being lost, because there is so much focus on just doing release validation and testing in that short window, that all these new features are not even being evaluated until it becomes mandatory for customers to adopt. So that's another challenge customers are dealing with. The third one is from a quality assurance and technical standpoint. Again, since you're getting these releases much faster, understanding what is coming in these release, what are the fixes, what are the enhancements, what are the new features, how do you gauge those changes, changes impact on your implementation, what needs to be tested, what is the right regression suite to test. And with so much focus only on the functionality testing, sometimes customers are not even thinking about validating if there is any performance degradation or if there is any security breakdown once the patches are getting applied. So those are some other things that you should be considering as well, because as you're taking new application changes, there could be impacts to other things like security and performance. Same thing with integrations. Dealing with not just the changes impacting your cloud application, but how is that impacting your inbound, outbound integrations, how the data is flowing. Is that something that you're able to test every time the changes are coming in? And the impact of that, to your data flow is important as well. So in terms of continuous delivery model that has been provided to you as part of the whole cloud, comes with its own benefits, but with new responsibilities for the customers. In terms of the benefits, obviously with cloud, you're getting continuous innovation that is being delivered by your cloud provider. You get a predictable timeline and schedule, so you know that you're going to get a release every quarter on a particular Friday, and then it goes into production 2 weeks after that. So there's at least a predictability in terms of schedule and timeline so that you can prepare for it. You do get a lot of these new features and modules delivered much faster than what it used to be with on-prem. Even the fixes and improvements, you don't have to wait for months. You can get it much faster. So these are some of the benefits that you do get by migrating to cloud. But with this also comes new responsibilities that customers are having to adopt to. One is the pace of change has been pretty fast. So the customers are having to spend a lot of time planning for this, doing the testing for that 2-week window. Most of the customers are having to be heads down, making sure everything is working instead of focusing on their business as usual tasks or also the new features that are getting pushed to you. The whole change management process has been a challenge in terms of the whole paradigm shift, right? So adopting to this whole new plan and new sequence of things that are coming in so fast and furious, how do you make sure that you continue to accept those changes without impacting your business as usual, as well as not having to find out that the issues you missed are getting found in production and then having to live with it for another 3 months, right? So those are some of the new things that you're having to deal with. Keeping the applications running when updating is another thing, and adopting the new features and continuously having to test this. So these are some of the new responsibilities that customers are having to deal with in this whole continuous delivery model. So what are the options available to you, right? So you can continue to do the testing manually, which is time consuming. From a coverage standpoint, you're picking and choosing what to test because you only have 2-week window. So the coverage is not comprehensive. So you're pretty much reading the release notes, figuring out what to test, doing some testing, hoping that you've not missed anything. And if you do, then you'll have to live with it for a while, right? And the third thing is, from a focus standpoint, there's more focus on must accept changes versus new features adoption. You can build your own automation tool. There are products out there, open source as well as licensed products that you could get in, build a framework, get the resources who could do it, spend 3 to 6 months getting automation up and running. But the challenges most customers are facing is from a maintenance standpoint. Can you maintain these scripts when you need to get it up and running within that 2-week window when your test pod is updated? So that's another challenge that you'd have to deal with. So when you are evaluating automation tools or platforms, one thing that you should be looking for is, apart from the fact that it can automate the cloud applications, how good are they from maintaining them if you only have a short window of time to do updating of those test cases and executing it and providing the results, right? The third option is subscribing to an automated testing as a service, where you don't have to deal with license cost, hardware, software cost, resources cost. You just pay for an annual subscription and pay based on what you're consuming. So that this is just like the way you've migrated to cloud. You're just dealing with it as a subscription service. These are some of the options that you would have available to you when it comes to release validation and automation testing. So I'll walk you through a quick customer case study. This is a customer who's migrated from core Oracle EBS systems to Oracle HCM Cloud. They went in 2 phases with all these modules across 5 different countries. This customer from get-go decided to leverage automation as part of their implementation strategy. So by the time they had phase 1 phase 1 went live in November, they had all the test cases automated, and all the subsequent releases were tested through automated testing. And phase 2 was being implemented while the monthly patches were being taken by customer. And by the time phase 2 got up and running in April, that also included payroll module, they were able to have automation up and running. And from past 3-4 releases, they've been doing all their testing for quarterly patches through automation testing. So what are the benefits that the customer was able to realize with the automated subscription service? One is from a coverage standpoint, they're able to do 100% coverage. There is no picking and choosing of test cases, how many test cases you want to execute, executing all regression suite to make sure there is nothing getting missed. The new feature adoption, this customer is able to adopt new features much faster than customers who don't have automation in place. Cost, there is a 55% reduction in cost. Because it's a subscription service and you're only paying for what you're consuming, you don't have people sitting around all year just to, for something that you only need once a quarter. So this reduces the cost of quality by quite a bit. And last but not the least, getting the testing done within 5 business days of your patch getting applied leaves you a lot of time to focus more on getting issues resolved, retesting, looking at the new features that are coming in. Do you want to adopt them? When do you want to adopt? How does it help your business? There's a lot of things that you can spend time on instead of doing manual release validation and testing. So I'm going to quickly talk about the platform, CloudTestr platform, that are being leveraged by a lot of customers who have migrated to cloud. So this platform is provided as platform as a service. Though we're providing it as a service, customers get access to the platform where they are able to look at all the dashboards, quality metrics. They're able to download the test results. They're able to download the test documentation. They're able to test multiple applications, including the integrations, whether you're integrating with third-party systems, whether you have internal integrations, the inbound integrations, outbound integrations, API-based integrations, FTP-based integrations. So all different types of integrations are being accounted for as well. Since it's an enterprise platform, you don't have to look at multiple tools to be able to do the whole end-to-end regression testing or process testing. You can do everything through automation through one platform. It is hosted on Oracle Public Cloud Infrastructure, same place as the Oracle Cloud applications are hosted. We are able to have a lot of pre-built test libraries that are already available. So you're able to have automation up and running within 4 to 6 weeks of subscribing to the service and get the executions and maintenance done within 3 to 5 days of your test pod getting updated. So I'll do a quick demo of the platform so that you can actually see it in action. So this is the login screen that you would get. Again, every customer will get access to the platform where you can log into the platform in real time. It is hosted on the cloud, so you'll be able to log in, take a look at the dashboard. The dashboard is going to be set up for you based on the applications that you have. You can see the test case development status, how many test cases have been planned to be automated, how many have been completed, signed off, still needs to be executed. You can also drill down into more details in terms of if you want to just see for core HR, what test cases are being automated, how many of them are completed, how many are still in progress. So you can drill down from a dashboard standpoint as well to get into more details to see where things are. Same thing with execution. You'll be able to look at the execution stats as well at any point in time to see that how many test cases have been planned to be executed, how many passed, how many failed, how many are yet to execute. You can drill down by releases as well. So if you want to look at what happened for 19C or 19D, you could just drill down and get the execution results for that particular release. Same thing with defects. You can see the statuses of the defects by status as well as by severity. We can also integrate with your internal test management tools as well if you want all the statuses to be looked at one location. So I'll just walk you through a quick test case. So this is the hire an employee test case that is part of the HCM Cloud suite. And if you look at it, what we do is we actually capture and configure the automated tests in your environment. That way we're actually taking into account your configurations and your personalizations as part of the automation. So when we are validating, we're not just checking the vanilla scenarios that Oracle is pushing, but what you have done, what you have implemented, and to make sure that every time a patch gets applied, your personalizations are getting accounted for. And if there is any impact to your personalizations or configurations, you can find those defects as part of the automation testing. We also auto-generate test documentation. So if you look at it here, this is one of the documents that we've generated. If you see, we have the screenshot, we have the description of the step that is being performed. So you have a complete documentation of the test that is being performed. And this is configurable as well in terms of the details that we're putting in here for steps. We can put as much detail as possible or as little detail as possible according to a customer requirement, and then auto-generate the documentation, right? So you can also use this documentation for training purposes as well because it's pretty detailed in terms of the screens and the steps. So anybody can just look at this documentation and will be able to walk through the steps to perform and learn by themselves as well. Same thing with the test execution. You can see that we have run history where you have the details on when the test has been executed, how long it took to execute the test, whether it's passed or failed. And again, you have the details of the screenshots and the steps that are being performed, and you can download the same. All this information will be available to you to do it on your own, right? So if you look at it, same thing, you have the steps, whether it's passed or failed, and the screenshots associated with those steps are also available to you. We also do test data management, automated test data management, to make sure that we don't keep coming back to you for data. As part of our initial onboarding process, we will figure out where the data is coming from, whether it's static data, whether it's dynamic data, and all that information is taken into account so that we are feeding the data as part of our initial process itself, so we don't keep doing manual data entries when we are executing the test. I talked about integrations, so you do have different types of integrations that you should be able to automate as part of this process, whether it's API-based integrations, FTP-based integrations, file-based integrations, we should be able to automate. If you don't have access to the third-party systems to actually run the whole integration, then we would be able to simulate the integration to make sure that we simulate the file and how it is getting processed through the cloud application and provide the results as well. So I also wanted to do a quick showcase of the payroll data validation tool that we have, where we are able to, for payroll customers specifically, if you want to do a quick compare between your before and after reports from a data standpoint, whether it's payroll activity report or payroll register report, you'll be able to do that with a click of a button. Just upload the file from before report, and then you can do the same after. You can set tolerances as well. If you say that I'm okay employee tax reduction being 0.01% off, you can do those tolerance as well so that it doesn't get caught, and you can do a quick check of the variances. When we do this, you will get an email of the files that has been done, as well as you can see the information here as well in terms of at the net variance summary level, component level, at employee level. All the information is available to you, and you can also drill down into details as well. Right. So this is a quick demo of the platform on how it looks, and let me just quickly come back to this. So what are the few things that are part of what you get as part of the service? One is providing it as a service. It's consumption and subscription-based model. There are a lot of pre-built test libraries already available, so you can get up and running within 4 to 6 weeks with automation. You have a lot of quality metrics and dashboard. You have automated data management incorporated into it. Data security is another aspect that that is taken into account to make sure that there is no PII data that is getting exposed. Automated change management. We also perform impact analysis and share the details with you so that you don't have to go through the release notes, understand what is changing and what needs to be done. Change management process is part of it. You also have auto health checks where we can look at the security breakdowns or any process breakdowns and provide the results to you on that as well. Auto-generated documentation, so your documentation is never going to go stale, because as part of the maintenance, and since we auto-generate the documentation, your documentation is always going to be up to date. You can also download the results files at any time by logging into the platform and taking a look at it. Integrations automation is included. Last but not the least, audit support. We do provide internal and external audit support as part of this, because all the things that your auditors are looking for are available as part of the platform. So it's more or less logging into the platform and sharing the details as to what has been tested, the screenshots associated with it, what passed, what changed. All that information from an audit standpoint is available as part of the service. So I'll take a quick pause now and we can open it up for questions. We have 5 minutes left. Do you have any questions?
You can post your questions at the Q&A tab that is there over here, the bottom.
You have not muted anyone, right, Sagar?
I think everyone are on mute. Do you want me to unmute? 1 second.
Yes, please. Can you set it?
So we have a question from one of the attendees. Are we testing any non-Oracle apps, Lavanya?
Yes, we can test. It is an enterprise platform. We do support all different types of applications, both SaaS applications, on-prem applications, web applications. So it is not restricted to just Oracle apps. The platform works the same way for our applications.
And we have another question. What is the method platform used for recording and creating the scripts? That was from Team Ellen.
Okay. So the platform is a scriptless solution. So basically what we do is we capture and configure the transaction, and the platform auto-generates the script. So we don't write any code as such. That is one of the reasons we are able to get automation up and running much faster, as well as we are able to maintain the scripts much faster than any other platforms out there.
Lavanya, we have one question from Tim. What is the method or platform used for recording and creating the scripts?
So that is the CloudTestr platform does that as part of the platform itself. It's our IP that we use to do the capture process.
We have a question from Ajay. Can this be integrated with Jira?
Yes, it can be integrated with Jira because Jira does expose an API, so we'll be able to integrate with Jira or any other test management tools that you might have in place. As long as you can expose the API to us, we'll be able to integrate.
Can we test pass components using this?
Yes, you should be able to test pass components as well. We just need to understand the pass application that you implemented, and we'll be able to automate that as well.
Okay. And the last question is, how is data security maintained using CloudTestr?
So all the data that is sensitive data, we do encrypt it. If it is Oracle applications, you can two ways. One, you can request Oracle to do the data masking. You can log in SR and they can do that. Or we also, if you don't want to go that route, we also provide option for you on how to do the data masking on your own through the HDL process. And we have a detailed workflow on that. We can work with you to set it up during the initial onboarding process, and you can run it every time you need to do the testing. You just run that process, and so that all the PII data is masked. So we have multiple ways to make sure that the data security is maintained and we don't see any sensitive data.
Also, is there any minimum period for the subscription?
Minimum period is, it's an annual subscription, so the minimum period is 1 year. After that, one other point I want to make is if you do subscribe for multi-year, after the initial annual subscription, the price does come down because you're already onboarded. So we do provide a reduction in price or optimal price for ongoing maintenance and support for year 2, year 3 onwards.
Another question is from Monita. Who can see the data and where is the data stored?
So the data is stored as part of the, so we don't keep any sensitive data in the platform. So if you look at it from a test case standpoint, I'll show you where the data is. Right, so we have the test data tab here. So you can actually enter the data right here, or we can upload it through an Excel file. And that's what is being used by the automated test to run the test, to run the scripts.
Okay. And the last question: can you share a high-level pricing of the platform?
Yes, we can share that. Could you drop us an email so that we can send it out to you?
And a follow-up to that is pricing dependent on the number of scenarios for automation?
Yes, it does. That's the consumption part of it. So it is a tiered pricing that we have based on the number of test cases that you have. So you'll be paying only based on the consumption of that, how many test cases are getting onboarded, how many executions are being done. That's what you would be paying for. And there is no additional cost for the platform or for downloading the results and keeping up with the documentation, maintenance of the test cases. It's all inclusive pricing. It's based on the test scenarios that you would be consuming.
Are there any other questions from the attendees on the line?
Okay. Thank you so much. So we will publish the recording of this as well as the presentation. And the person who was requested for the pricing, if you could drop us an email at cloudtestr@suneratech.com, we'll be able to share the pricing with you. Okay. Thank you, everyone.